Hello friends, we are currently in the backyard of my landlord's house. It's the laundry area underneath a shed because it looks like it's about to rain. It was drizzling earlier. Anyways, got ourselves a nice little bottle of Malbec Trivento from Argentina, 2024 vintage. Really deep purple red color. What do I know about wines? Anyways, little swirl, little smell. You can taste that very ripe plum fruit flavor and a little bit of spice at the end. You can feel it in your tongue, it just tingles a bit. Anyways, this video is about my Ironman journey, and I thought, yeah, there's bikes over here. I'm done with work. It looks like it's gonna rain. I can't go for a run, so why not do it today? So it's gonna be me rambling, and then there's gonna be some sprinkle of questions that my friends have kindly asked on Instagram earlier. So yeah, let's start, shall we? So I'm gonna share my personal journey on my personal Ironman journey, which took about 2 years. Feel free, grab a glass of wine, sit back, relax, and hope you're in for a treat. So for those that are unaware, an Ironman race is basically a triathlon involving 3 disciplines: swim, bike, and run. Okay, the swimming is 3.8 kilometers. Then you go up, run, get on your bike, and it's 180 kilometers cycle, and you finish off with a full marathon, so 42.2 kilometers. Cutoff time is 17 hours. But at that time I didn't know that I was going to do that yet. So rewind back to in 2022. We were having dinner with my friends at my place. I remember it was a potluck or something like that. We were sitting down around, and the conversation came up of a friend of mine, Jen Yu. So credits to him for planting this seed in my head. We brought it up saying that, oh, you know, he finished a half Ironman. Wow, that's amazing. And suddenly the next thing you know, we were just asking each other, you know, are we interested in participating? You know, all of us, maybe to my surprise, said yes. Why I say it was surprising is because none of us own a bike, none of us swims, as in we don't swim competitively or know the proper techniques. The most we do is hike or run occasionally. And things started falling into place. I reached out to Jen Yu. He was very gracious about it. He lent me his bike for my first race, and we signed up for our first race, which was in Port Dickson. And that was about 5 months away. So from October, 2 months later, we just signed up for classes. I personally signed up for a triathlon class just to get an idea of the swimming techniques, which is really important. So swimming, most of it is technique, and because it's the shortest leg of the race, I wouldn't say that it's the most crucial, but technique is everything, because without good technique, you won't swim through it very efficiently. So yeah, it was end of the year. We attended our classes. I remember my first class. Usually it is a run first, and then after that you go for a swim. Okay, so you go for a run. We went for a jog. Everybody was so fast. It's like, okay guys, let's do an easy run. Away they go. And the coach told me, like, okay, don't worry, just take your time, take your pace, just do what you can. Fine, I did what I can. Then after that, it's like, okay, let's jump in the pool and get to swimming. I got there. It was a 50-meter pool in Bukit Jalil. I swam half the swimming pool length, not even 25 meters. My legs cramped. I just couldn't. And embarrassingly enough, I went back home because the cramp was really bad. So I think it's because number one, my body wasn't used to the fatigue, and number two, it was after the run, my body was still hot, and I immediately plunged into the swimming pool, which was really, really cold. So that was very very memorable. You know, but it's all part of the journey. Then I slowly made it more consistent, attending the classes, going for more training on my own, outside the scheduled practices, because that was about 2 times a week only. And before you know it, it was my race. Oh, and before the Port Dickson race, I had what we call a simulation. Basically, what it means is that you sign up for it, you head out to Port Dickson, and then you do such as a simulation on a mock race, so that you're familiar with the environment, when to change your shoes, how to get on the bike, and you know what the transition is like. And I was the only one over there. Again, another embarrassing moment, without a triathlon suit. Okay, so I remember I got out. I was in my swimming trunks after my swim, and then I looked at the coach, like, do I need to wear my shirt or whatever? Then I remember he looked at me, and he said, "You think race time got time to do all this?" I was like, "Oh, okay." So I was half naked, and I was about to wear my shoe, and I asked him, "Should I put on my socks?" "You think in the race got time to put on socks?" "Oh, okay, isn't this a simulation?" You know. So I was half naked in my swimming trunks, no socks, and I was trying to run 5 kilometers. They had pictures that day, and they sent it to all the people that participated. Oh, it was bad. Anyways, race day was March, Port Dickson. It was a short race, so it's what we call a sprint distance. And the sprint distance is basically 1.5 kilometer swim, and then you get off, and then you go for a cycle, a 40 kilometer cycle, and then you finish off with a 10 kilometer run. Swim was alright, nothing memorable from there, but the bike was interesting. I was still new to cycling, and honestly, I never was confident on a bike, let alone trying to cycle on the road with other people that are so fast. So it was a bit of a mess in the morning. I was trying to set up my bike and everything. You know, I thought I got it all covered. Put my drinks, my gels, and everything. Number one, I was clever enough to say, go online and find, okay, you should strap your gel onto the bike so you can peel it off while you're cycling and eat it. Great, I did that. I was cycling, suddenly I noticed my gel disappeared. Apparently it fell down, so I don't have a gel. That's number one. Number two, I was about 10 kilometers in, and I was trying to brake, but I couldn't brake the front wheel. And then I looked down. I realized when I was fitting the wheel in the morning, back when I was taking out the car, because you have to take out the front wheel from the fitting inside, and then I tried to put it back, I forgot to remount the brake calipers. So it wasn't engaging. I was like, oh god. I had to stop at the side while everybody zooms past me, zoom. And I had to put it back and then continue my race. Long story short, it was a good experience. Participating in my first race, I think from then it was pretty smooth sailing for the next race. So next race was in June. This was the race in Lumut. Gotten more training, gotten more swimming. By then I stopped attending the classes already. And the race with my buddy, so 6 of us attended it. It was really, really fun. You know, we did the race all together, we're cheering each other on, and it was about 3 to 4 months before half Ironman Langkawi. So by then we've already signed up for the Ironman Langkawi race. Cost us about 2,000 ringgit for the registration, I believe. And we knew that this race would be the last race before Ironman Langkawi. So we were quite excited to see how we perform and what we can do better. So everybody finished their race. Most importantly, everybody was safe. And yeah, that was June. So we'll go with question number 1 from Sarah Rizal. This is such a Sarah question. What motivated you to try? At that time, I didn't think about it much. I think the main thing was it seemed like a fun challenge, something to occupy my time. I've never thought about doing it, so I think that was what drew me to the appeal of doing this. And honestly, I think the best things are the ones that you always don't think about much. You just say yes and see how it goes. And this was one of the things that I'm glad I managed to tick it off. Hope that answers your question, Sarah. Before I get on to my experience on the half Ironman in Langkawi, I think I'll take the time to just mention how many firsts there were during this journey. And all of them are pretty funny. So I think the first, which was interesting for a few of us, was wearing a triathlon suit, a tri-suit. A lot of us don't wear tight-fitted outfits, and I remember just being in the mall buying our first tri-suit. Number one, it's really expensive, you know, so better make sure what you're getting is what you like. I remember I spent about 600 to 700 ringgit on my first tri-suit, and I was just with my mate Nick at the shopping mall, and we got the tri-suit, and then he said, like, can we try them on, you know, and then we used the public toilet in the mall. And then we came out and then we had to ask the guy whether this is actually how tight it's supposed to be. I was trying to get Nick to like zip up his tri-suit because it looks so tight. I literally had to pull it up and ask him to suck his belly in just to make the tri-suit fit. And when he when he relaxed, the stomach was Anyways, we came out and then we spoke to the salesperson, and then he looked at us and he's like, that looks like it fits perfectly. Everything was so tight, you know, which at that time we didn't know it was supposed to be so fitting. You know, it was skin tight, but we liked the design and we trusted the salesperson. We even tried a size up, but we eventually went for the one that the salesperson recommended. So yeah, we got our tri-suit, and then we used the tri-suit for our first race in Lumut. So training was still ongoing for half Ironman in Langkawi. And before we go into that, let's go for the next question. Next question is by Viv. Nipple friction, don't lie. So the great thing about wearing a tri-suit is that everything is so skin tight that there is actually no room for any friction at all. The only part that I chafed on my first race was under my arms over here, and that was because I didn't put enough Vaseline. But other than that, all my races, I did not have any chafing or nipple friction at all. Thanks for the question, Viv. And yeah, so training was about 4 to 5 days a week. You know, we alternate between swimming, cycling and running. Usually the long ones are during the weekend. So on Saturday, you do a long bike, including a run after your bike, and Sunday you do a long run. So on the weekdays, you alternate between swimming, cycling on a stationary bike, and also running. For the Ironman Langkawi race, we got over there a couple of days earlier, which was a great decision. We decided to go for a villa which was about 15 minutes away from where the happening place is. Again, great decision because it was quiet, we can relax, it's away from all the noise, from the crowd. And yeah, we all spend the days leading up to the race just relaxing, having good meals, having enough sleep, you know, just talking a lot of nonsense and laughing because you've already done all the training. You know, there's nothing else you can squeeze in anymore. And I remember waking up in the morning with this sense of excitement, nervousness, definitely. But it was good to know that, you know, it was fun to be the journey was really fun with all my friends, I can say that. And whatever happened that day, the most important thing that we told ourselves is that we want to have a safe race and see each other on the finishing line. So did our race. No highlights, nothing to mention about the race. I would say, I think the atmosphere was something else, you know, just being surrounded by all these people that has put in the hours for the race and you're part of it, you know. Some feelings and emotions I remembered at the race. At the starting line, of course, you know, being surrounded by all these people that have worked so hard and put in so much time, you know, to be surrounded by them, it was a very humbling feeling to be around them. You know, you think you've worked hard, but these people have put in so much more hours. And the day looked great ahead. Skies were clear. I remember it being a really, really hot day. But with the amount of money you paid for the registration fee, there was a lot of facilities, and the water stations were great. You know, there was always ice available. There's always drinks. You can have a choice of isotonic, water, gels, fruits, pretzels, jelly beans, and the crowd was great. You know, everybody was so supportive, even for the half Ironman. And when we finished the race, I personally remembered that when I crossed the finishing line, the first thing that came to my mind was, this wasn't enough. This felt like I could have done more. I felt as if it wasn't that I could have pushed harder. I wasn't racing to get a best time, but it felt like my body could go further. And I wasn't satisfied when I crossed the finishing line, to say the least. But it was great. Most importantly, we were safe. So, after the race, treated ourselves to food and whatnot. And once the registration for the following year opened, I think the registration opened like 2 weeks after the race, I signed up. Yeah, I made the payment, and that was about 4,000 ringgit. And yeah, the journey started. Half Ironman and a full Ironman is completely different, and I knew that I had to put in so much more for this, and that was half exciting for me and half scary, knowing that doubling the distance does not equate to doubling the effort. It's a lot more than that. So, on to the next question is from Nat. What is your why? For this, I'm zooming into the full Ironman, because the why was a bit different compared to the half Ironman. I signed up for the full Ironman knowing that none of my friends will be signing up as well. So it was a bit of a slightly more lonely journey. And the why was, as I said before, after I crossed the finishing line for the half Ironman, it felt like I could go further. It felt like I can push my body harder, and I wanted to know how far I can take my body with. And Ironman seems like a good thing to do, and I've already have that momentum. Might as well build up on it. So if you're thinking about signing up for a race and doing that, I think, yeah, of course it's important to find your why. Use it as a North Star. Whether it's proving yourself, proving others, whether it's a challenge that you want to take part in, whether it's a bucket list item, whatever it is, find your why. Even if there's no why, as long as you show up for your training every day. Yeah. Next question. Let's just go on to the next question and see if we can tick them off one by one. Question is from Alan. How often do you swim? For my half Ironman, I swam probably once or twice a week. And for my full Ironman, I swam at least twice a week. Each time is probably about 2 to 3 kilometers. If there is time, I'll fit in a third swim. And similarly, the next question is from Zizan. How did you train and how often do you train? So 2 parts to the question. I'll answer the how often did you train first. How often you train? Simple. At least 6 days a week. Usually it's every day, 7 days a week. So I usually have probably Monday runs, Tuesday swims, Wednesday I'll cycle, Thursday I will swim, and then Friday I'll run. And then Saturday, it is a long bike session in the morning, followed by a run after that. And Sunday is a long run. So I train every day. And it is important to train every day because, number one, consistency is king when it comes to training for Ironman. Even if you don't train for a week, it almost, it's not backed by science, but it almost feels as if you lost 2 weeks of progress, which is really, really bad. But the good thing is that you often build it back up pretty quickly. It's just that you are not progressing nicely towards the race. So it might make you drop back down in performance. If you're not chasing for time, then it's fine. You know, if you just want to finish the race, just like me. You know, so I wasn't too stressed about it. But I train every day. It's good to know that when I wake up, I know what I'm going to do. And it makes it easier that I bought this training plan online that just directly syncs to my watch and tells me what I need to do for the next week, for the next month, all the way leading up to the race. And the next part of the question is, how did you train? This was probably the toughest part of my Ironman journey due to the nature of my work. So my nature of my work is I'm in sales and I travel a lot around Malaysia, whether it's driving, whether it's taking a flight. The difficult part is that because I don't have a fixed schedule, you know how like you are going to work 9 to 5, you know that after 5 p.m, okay, I can go for my training, or before 9 o'clock going to office, I can do my training. When it comes to traveling, is that if I need to swim, if I need to get on a stationary bike, I definitely can't get on a stationary bike. But for running and swimming, I still can do it. Running is easy. I just go on the road. I just run to whichever park there is nearby, or just by the road in a housing area near the hotel. When it comes to swimming, means I have to plan things around that. I either have to look for a hotel that has a swimming pool that's long enough. Usually there isn't, and if there is, it's already too expensive under the company's budget. Number two, I have to look for a public pool. Public swimming pools outside of KL is usually not as great condition, or it's usually far away from where I am. But I have to go and put my training in, because I know that if I miss this swim, it means that I have to swim another 2 or 3 more times just to make it back. And what I mean is that, sorry, maybe it's wrong for me to say that. The thing with missing that one swim, it's not like, okay, the next day I swim 2 times as far, means I can make it back from the back. If you miss that out, you miss that out already. And that is the annoying part, because I don't want to miss out on that. So I have to force myself to drive somewhere, look for a swimming pool, put in the numbers, put in the training, head back to the hotel, continue work. Sometimes I even have to do it during work time. And yeah, that was honestly, if I look back, was so challenging. Was just physically and mentally exhausting, because I was driving around all day, going onto rooftops, meeting clients, going for site visits under the hot sun, and I had to do my training. So very hope that answers the question, Zizan. So I had a few travel plans last year. So during my race here, I had a few travel plans, which was fine. In June or July, I was in Sarawak for 2 weeks, and I had a couple other 1 week holidays or couple of day holidays which I missed on the training, which was fine, because again I wasn't too fixated on finishing at a certain time. I just want to cross the finishing line. But the lowest point happened to me in August during my journey. I signed up for a simulation in Port Dickson. The swim went well, and I got on my bike. So it was a really hot day. I remember I was about 80 kilometers in I wanted to try to do at least 100, 150 kilometers. It was about 80 kilometers in. I was cycling back and I fell asleep on my bike. It all happened so quickly. It felt like it was a micro sleep. Closed my eyes. Next thing you know, I was drifting off to the side of the curb. I hit on some grass, which I tried to. I didn't fall on the grass, so I tried to go back to the road, but the shoulder of the road was higher than the grass. So I went up, lost my balance, and I skidded on the road, smashed myself on my right side. Got some injuries, of course, and everything was, you know, it's true, you know, how you like watch the movies. Everything just turned bright. I think like adrenaline was in me. I moved all my joints, everything. Thankfully, nothing was broken. Cars and kind strangers, they stopped on the roadside, helped me out, make sure that, you know, I was okay. And a few lovely ladies, they waited for me. I took my phone, I called the organizer to let them know I was involved in an accident, come to pick me up. I pick up my bike. My cleats were broken. My bicycle, incredibly, was still intact. The only thing was that the handlebar was bended in, which was an easy fix. But I think the biggest impact it had on me was mentally. My race was about 3 months away, and the last thing I needed was an accident. I had this big bruise on my thigh, and all my elbows, they were all scraped. I couldn't swim because it was so painful. I couldn't run because the injury on my leg, and of course I couldn't cycle. So I was just resting for 3 weeks, you know, to put it lightly. You know, it was the most annoying feeling knowing that I'm supposed to be training, and now all the training that I put in for the past year has just felt like it went down the drain. You know, I because of this, my training, the online training that syncs to my watch, it doesn't know that I was involved in an injury, and I cannot like let them know that, you know, to reset and everything. So I had to get a personal coach, which was Edwin. It was really challenging getting back into training again. Excuse me. While it felt exciting, you know, I remember the first couple of days was bad. I went for swimming, my scab, it just softened up in the pool, and then it started to sting when the water went in, you know, and I just couldn't continue. I remember I was in Alexia's condominium, just swimming at the swimming pool. I went up for the dinner, cut my training short, and I just broke down. It was really, really difficult. It was really, really stressful. I think the key word here is just very, very stressful on myself, because I've put on so much time and effort. I don't want to miss the Ironman because I don't want to train another year for it. And the registration fee was like 4,000 ringgit, man. So that was the accident. But tried to keep my head up until race day. And I was supposed to ride my bicycle to raise funds for an Orang Asli community, but that didn't happen, obviously. I need to focus on my training. And yeah, on to the race day next. But before that, let's finish up the questions. Genu, can you do the Ironman New Zealand together with me? Hell no, bro. I'm broke as hell here, man. And fitness all gone lah. Fabi, why you run so slow? Hello, I got full Ironman. I got a full marathon to do after I swim, after I bike. You know, speed not so important for me. But this brings up a very, very interesting point about Ironman or triathlon training in general. Most of the training are in zone 2, and you don't do like high effort, maximum effort stuff very often, because the whole idea is that you don't want to exhaust your body too much so that you can train every day. That's why I can train 7 days a week, because all the trainings are usually not super high intensive. They're just followed by time. So the training, they ask you like, okay, run 1.5 hours at zone 2. That's it. You know, just do a steady pace. Or the most intensive one is probably just doing sprints on your running. But other than that, it's just building your endurance, building your fatigue resistance. And what do you do? And last question from my girlfriend, Alexia. I think she's asking this because all her weekends were without me during the training. Would you do it again? Probably not. At the moment, I don't know whether I'll do it in the future. Interesting fact is most of the participants are in their 30s, 40s and 50s because it's such an expensive and time-consuming sport. So they're usually like business owners, they usually have more time. Very, very few people are in their 20s. And I managed to do it when I was 29. So there was like, 40 of us or 30 of us. That's it. Yeah. So now we're on race day. Okay. I got there a week before. I already make bookings. As I said, I was supposed to ride my bicycle there and chill for a week. But since I couldn't cycle, I drove my car there and I already made the booking on Airbnb and I already paid for it. So I was there 1 week earlier. Best decision ever. It was nice little house in some greenery. It was very relaxing. I felt my stress slowly went away when I was there. You know, I told myself I've already did the best I can. The circumstances that happened to me, you know, don't let it get in the way, don't let it get in my head. And I was looking forward to the race, you know, even though I got there earlier, it was just me, but it was a good time to have a reflection. And Alexia came, I think about a day or 2 days earlier, and you know, so happy for her to be there with me, you know, my number one supporter. She woke up the same time as me. It was really early in the morning. It was like 4 a.m, 4:30 a.m. Had to wolf down my breakfast in. I love my rice for my breakfast. And yeah, the race started at 7:30 a.m. Started out with a 3.8 kilometer swim. Went super well. The elites lapped me like nobody's business. Then I got onto my bicycle. Definitely the toughest was the cycling. And the absolute highlight of the cycling I remember was during my first lap before what we call this very steep incline called Three Sisters. My friends were there, you know, they were there to support me, and I was just me on the road looking down on my wheels, looking at the road for the past like 4 to 5 hours. And suddenly when I looked up, I hear my name being called. You know, it was so nice to see them. You know, it really gave a boost. And by that time, I finished my cycling. It was about 5 p.m. and I was so glad to finally be able to get off that damn bike. Got down, changed into my running shoes and started running. 2 kilometers in, it was the first timing chip on the ground, you know. So it's like when you pass by, you're given this timing chip on, and you wear it on your ankle, and then when you pass by it, then that's like your laps, and that's how they keep track of your time, and to make sure that, you know, you don't cheat or get on the car and then go to the next checkpoint. When I ran past it, I looked at my ankle and I realized, where is my timing chip? And then it dawned on me after I got off my bike. And when I was putting on and changing my socks, I took off the timing chip. I forgot to put it back on. I frantically looked for an event organizer or personnel, told them about my situation. They gave me a ride on the scooter back, and somebody found the timing chip, thankfully. Unthankfully is that they cannot send me back to where they picked me up. Means that I had to run 2 kilometers extra. So it wasn't a full marathon. it was 44 kilometers. I ran from about 5 p.m. all the way until 12:30 at night. And our mind is very good at, forgetting, not remembering the pain that we endure. But I remember telling my friends, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. It truly is. But despite all that, I was amazed, and I was also very conscious that how much my body can take. It was amazing. I was swimming, cycling, running since 7:30 a.m. All I had to eat was gels, the occasional donut from the auntie that was frying by the roadside, gummy bears, jelly beans, and I was fueled by water and Coca-Cola. And my body kept going and going. I was very, very proud, particularly that I did not stop and walk. I just pushed and jogged as slow as I can. The most important thing was to keep moving. And was approaching the final lap. Everything just slowed down. I was really, really happy that I was going to cross the finishing line. I was really, really proud that I managed to fundraise 35,000 ringgit for the Orang Asli community in Greek for the new road access. I was very, very grateful that my friends were there and my girlfriend was there to support me, staying up as long as the race is not longer. It's not easy under the hot weather as well for them. And crossing the finishing line felt like this weight off my shoulders. It was a really, really happy moment. It wasn't emotional. It was a very, very happy moment. It was a very, very relieving moment for me, and I just soaked it all in. It was great. It was 12:30 midnight. I had a massage. They gave free massage. There were pizza, there was food, there was a buffet. I wolfed down some pasta, drank some juice, and said hello to my friends that was there with me, to support. That's basically my Ironman journey. Hope you enjoyed it. And join me in the next one if you're interested.